Recording. Hello, everybody. Hostess, voiceover goddess, coachess, mentoress, Karen-Eileen Gordon here for November 2021 voiceover office hours. Let's let Susan in. Hi, Susan. All right, there's my hilarious little turkey. I was going to do, let's see, was going to show up with these today. I was going to show up with those. But I thought I would wait till the December session of office hours. Let me add a little spotlight here. Hello. Thumbs up. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Somebody give me a like. Woohoo. Yes, good. Hello. Hello. Greetings, everybody. We'll wait just another moment or two before we launch into the November version. Let me pull up the chat so I can see what everybody has to say, wants to say. How's everybody doing today? November 3rd, how did that happen? We're barreling towards Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's. That is astounding to me. Let's see, what is happening? I am going to see some fall leaves, which I'm very excited about. So the next time I talk to you might be from a very leafy with a very real leafy backdrop. So I'm very excited to maybe bring you office hours in December from a New England-y type location. We'll see how that goes. All right, another couple minutes or two for everybody coming in. Hello, welcome. We're just going to take a minute or two before we get started with our beautiful office hours. Hello, nice to see everybody's faces. You are welcome to turn your camera on or off as you wish. I adore seeing your faces, but if you're either in a place where you can't do that or you prefer to leave your camera off, all good. Hi, everybody. Hello, welcome, settle in. Very excited about what we're going to do today. In addition to answering any voiceover questions you have, we're going to talk about some gratitude and the power of gratitude, both specifically for your voiceover career and, of course, for your life, because all of these tools that I teach, which I call radical self-care for voiceover artists tools, or voiceover artists, actors, performers, anybody who uses their voice to do their work or be in the world, there's really no disconnect between how you take care of yourself and what shows up in your storytelling or your business practices. So we want to really integrate those and give you gems, tips, tricks, and hacks to rock your storytelling, which, by the way, has the wonderful consequence of helping you rock other areas of their life. They're very, very joined. Let's see. I'm checking the chat. Yes. Okay. Those who are not on camera are working. And I'm so honored that you have joined me and are continuing to work. Please know that you're always welcome. And I like to say this every time. If you join late, fine. If you show up halfway through, fine. It's a very flexible. Think of this as like, a fireside chat, voiceover office hours. Come in, stay as long as you can. We're happy to have you. Leave when you must. Very, very good indeed. All right, lovely humans. Woo! Very excited. Okay, hold on. People coming in. Admit. Let's admit you. Welcome to the people coming in. Hey, look who's showing up. Hey. All right, I'm gonna put you guys on gallery view for a second so I can see you. Hey, the fantastic Lori Wyman in the house. Hello. Yes, so nice to see you. Hello. We're just getting started. I'm going to wait till 5 past to give a full 5 minutes for the people who are like, I know it starts at the top of the hour, but I'm showing up at 5. So we'll wait 1 more minute, and then we'll dive right in. Tell me, what's everybody, is it too soon to think about Thanksgiving? What's everybody doing for Thanksgiving this year? I know it's like about 3 weeks away. Anybody have a thought or a plan? Anybody safely traveling? Family members safely coming to see you? What's happening for Thanksgiving this year? Like I said, fingers crossed, I will be sort of in the New England area with some family there. So I'm really excited to maybe be doing that. Me and my tofurkey. I don't think they do an organic tofurkey, but they should. I know tofurkey's kind of a joke, but I've actually had it, and it's really wonderful, as well as harvest loaf. For those of you unfamiliar, it's very delicious, made of all kinds of things. Somebody who knows those ingredients know. I think is it made of seitan or tempeh? Not exactly sure. But again, if I ran the world, I would also have an organic version for people. All right, here we go. So, who has any sort of voiceover question to start with today before we dive into the radical self-care? I always want to check the room, see if you've got a question. Hi, everybody, just coming online. Hello. Nice to see your faces. Anybody got a burning question or a not burning question? And no such thing as a question that is too small. No such thing as a silly question. No such thing as a question that you can't ask, even if you've asked it many times before. Not kidding. I have a very deep well of patience for people to ask questions as many times as they need to. And I'm going to do a shout out because one of my many role models for that is in this room, which is David H. Lawrence the 17th. So when I was learning this world, David sort of had an infinite well of patience with me when I called up asking the same thing 8,000 times from a different angle. And so I really enjoy offering that to all of you. Susan says, vaccinated, boosted, and that family's coming in. Oh, that's very, very good indeed. Very good indeed. Yeah, if you're just coming in, I was popping the chat if you feel comfortable sharing. What's up with your Thanksgiving? Are you doing some travel this year? Are people coming to you? I always like to hear what people are doing for the holidays. From, I want to say Florina. I want to say it with an accent, so please correct me if that's not right. Florina says, and I'm going to read the questions out loud because for those of you watching in review, hello, our future audience watching the replay, you're welcome. Florina says, if you're new, I got it right. Yes, Florina. Yay. If you're new to the voiceover business, where can you find a list of fees to not ask too much or too low, please? Oh, this is a great question. So, Florina, are you asking for yourself? Are you the person new to voiceover? Just let me know if that's you or if you're asking for somebody else. I always like to know. But yes, for myself. Great. Welcome to the voiceover world. Woo! First of all, we have all been exactly where you are, which is a new person. Everybody on the Zoom. Yes, I know David H. Lawrence is always asking for a friend. I fully understand that. When we get to your questions, we know it's for a friend. I'll make sure. Very excited. You have joined a giant brotherhood and sisterhood of creative awesomeness. So I'm going to assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to assume that you are currently a non-union human, but correct me if you're a union member. So pop that in the chat. Great. Okay. Let me see. Chris says, Chris is talking about Thanksgiving. The year is flying fast. Yes, it is, Chris. Trying to figure out Halloween plans. Chris is still in Halloween. I'm a big fan of extending holidays. I actually celebrate my half birthday. I celebrate my belly button birthday for a whole month. So I'm all about that. So please let us know if you come up with an extended, belated, and still bakery fresh Halloween plan. So there's a difference between non-union and union rates, obviously, but here's my feeling about a good marker. I am a union goddess, both SAG-AFTRA and Equity. Many of you are familiar with that, but Equity, AEA, is the stage union. Anytime you do theater, some theater is non-union, some theater is union, just like in the film and television and voiceover world. For me, I feel like a really great place to start, and this is a broad brushstroke, and I'll tell you why, is the SAG-AFTRA website. Say that 10 times fast. The SAG-AFTRA website, where you can get a sense of what the union rates are. That's a really nice thing for you to know, whether you're non-union or union. And if you're a union person, you definitely want to know because it's a part of the industry. And I feel like it's always very empowering as a voiceover artist to understand how the industry works. So if they're free to download those rate sheets, as far as I know. If you go to the SAG-AFTRA website, there's a place where you can click on resources. And if you guys want, if anybody knows where that is and then you want to pop that in the chat, you can. Otherwise, I will post it in the Facebook group when I put this replay up after we're done here today. I'll post that link. Let me make myself a note. Link for SAG-AFTRA. And it's called a rate sheet. And there's different rates for different things. Now, the caveat to that, the alteration to that would be, it's a great place to start. However, Certain markets are going to be priced either lower or equivalent or higher to the union rates. In general, not higher, but the union rates as a baseline are a really good barometer. But some markets, especially if you are located in a right-to-work state, Florida, Georgia, fill in the blanks for the right-to-work states. And if you're not sure what those are, that's a really good thing to Google as well. What are the right-to-work states? So you have an idea of what are the union-centric towns and the states, and the non-union-centric towns or states. So certain markets, if you're a non-union person, in general, the voiceover rates are not going to be equivalent to even the SAG minimums. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ask for it. And I want to empower you to know that as you work on your craft and you can rock your storytelling and you're doing a broadcast quality industry standard home studio, you have every right to ask for more money, even if the average in your town is less than. But in terms of setting the fees, that's a very, very good place to start, is figuring out what the SAG-AFTRA rate is. I'm trying to see, does anybody know, is there a really good resource for non-union rates? I'm not familiar. I know there's all kinds of websites, and again, I know about them, but I haven't researched the data on them, things like Gravy for the Brain. I know Voice 123 has some resources. If anybody has places they have found rates as a non-union voiceover artist, please share that in the chat. This is a village. We're all going to help each other. So if you have information, please feel free to post it on the chat. And if you know the information but you're not sure, let us know that. Everyone, I want you to vet, anything that's posted in the chat, I want you to vet it for yourself anyway. It's really wonderful to say, please don't share anything that you're not 1,000% sure of. But if you think you're 1,000% sure, it's still, I feel like, on us to vet the information before we make use of it. It's like a little disclaimer there. Claribel, I want to say accents. Claribel asks, what about for the union people? It's the same answer. I would go to the SAG-AFTRA website. SAG-AFTRA website. Peter Piper picked up heck of... I'm going to use SAG-AFTRA website as my new tongue twister. So hold on. Let's let in Miss Flanagan coming into the room. Let's see. David H. Lawrence the 17th says, do I allow people to send email questions or posting in my Facebook group? Yes, I do, but I didn't post that today. It's a really good idea. Typically, I post that and say, post a question here. When I send out the notice for this, I usually tell them to send questions as a DM, so I check the social media, but I will do that in future. That's a very, very good idea. It's a good way to have people asking real questions in real time if they're on Facebook. We have a direct message here from somebody. Let's see. I don't know if you meant that to be direct, but because you sent it direct, I'm not going to say your name. This message is, if you are on a Mac, if you have time. Oh, if I'm on a Mac. Yes, I am on a Mac. Can I go over the Audacity saving and 2 output files? If you have time, that would be great. Okay. I think what that means is, if you're using Audacity, which is one of my favorite things on the planet, if you're not already using Audacity, if you're using another DAW, digital audio workstation, DAW, that's the letters. People love to say abbreviations in the voiceover world. So the software that you use to edit and master files, that's a DAW, Pro Tools, Studio One, Reaper, Audacity. There's a lot of them. I adore Audacity because it's free, first of all, and it's sort of feather light. It does what it needs to do without hogging all the bandwidth on your computer. It doesn't take a million years to open up. Once you, as a voiceover artist, decide you're interested in multi-level production, you want to do your own demos in stereo and add sound effects and music, which, by the way, you can play around with in Audacity. Just telling you. Once you want to do that, then you can think about expanding to like a more heavy-duty DAW, and if you're already using one, you're in good shape. But I love Audacity. And so what this person is asking is, when you save a file, and I'll see if I can screen share, when you save an Audacity session window, which is the place you're recording, you get 2 things that are saved. One is a .aup icon, and one is a little folder that says _data. And those are like twins, like connected twins. They must live in the same place or your session will not open. If you take one twin and move it into another place, the thing that's left will say, I'm sorry, we have no idea what you're talking about. So they must live together in the same folder. The .aup at the end of it, and underscore data at the end of it. I see you, Mr. Lawrence. Give me 1 second. And if you change the name of those two files, let's say you called it test audition, and the files would be testaudition.aup, and the folder would be testaudition underscore data. If you change the name to my test audition in one place, you must change the name. So it's exactly the same thing. So they'll stay together. Mr. Lawrence, would you like to speak to us?
Yeah, so just so that people know, in the latest version of Audacity, that has changed.
Oh, please forgive me and correct me. Always,
okay.
always,
That's okay.
always.
That's okay. In anything older than 3.0,
okay.
Yeah, you'd have this like index file .aup, and then you'd have this big ass folder with millions of files in it because Audacity used to record little chunks and keep them all in this folder. But now with 3.0 and above, the new file format is .aup3, and all of those files that were in that folder are in that one big file, which has some pros and cons. But I just want to make people aware of that, so that when, if they've just recently downloaded Audacity and they're like, where's my folder,
where's my underscore data
said?
my
Exactly.
.aup?
Yeah,
3.0 or older. And so what's the latest 3. What is the latest version in the universe?
The latest version is actually 3.1.0, but if you're not
is it not compatible with certain
in the weeds here, but there's an older version that you should be using, 3.0.4. And I can't say enough good things about Stuart Goffey's Audacity newsletter.
Would you do everybody in this room a giant favor and drop that link in the chat?
I will, as soon as I go get it. I did drop another link in the chat about non-union rates.
Thank you. Mr. Lawrence is an expert on rates.
GVAA is the kind of the housing place for that. So.
Oh, great.
And I now return you to your regularly scheduled goddess.
Thank you so much for your wisdom. That's so, so good. Thank you, sir. All right, hold on. There's a lot of messages here. Florina says, hold on, let's let in some more people. Florina says, what if you're in Europe, but I want to join via websites anywhere in the world? That's a great question. And whenever I don't know, I'm going to defer to Mr. Lawrence. It's not how you say his name, but I'm feeling very accenty today. Mr. Lawrence. I forgot how to say 17 in French. Anyway, Mr. Lawrence the 17th. Voila, I forgot how to say it. So as far as I know, the only U.S. website that has a restriction is ACX, but I'm not entirely sure if that's correct.
Yeah, well, they have their individual, the restrictions are the United States, Ireland, the UK, Canada. If you're in those countries, you can be in ACX. If you're not, then there are workarounds, but they're kind of kludgy. But almost any site anywhere in the world can take registrants from almost anywhere in the world. So if we're in the States and we want to be on Bidalgo, or
if you don't know Bidalgo, Bodalgo, go ahead and Google it. It's lovely. Go ahead.
Or Voquint.
Voquint, Voquint. Google it. Very nice.
ENT.
Voquent. Take two.
But if you're going to be if you live in Europe and you want to join Voice 123, that's considered an American site, but it's actually based in South America.
That's what I thought.
So, So you're kind of like open. It's very different from on-camera casting sites that are usually in-country
very
sites.
Rooted. And Florina, if you don't mind sharing, where in the world in Europe are you? Because maybe that would help us give you some more specific input. Doug Steves. Oh, Doug Steves has dropped the SAG-AFTRA contracts industry resources rate for voiceover in the chat. So please grab that. Doug Steves has dropped that link. There it is, in the GVAA for non-union, a link. Oh my God, The Village, The Power of the Village, really beautiful. Susan says, I am seeing on Actors Access to pay, let me read this. I am seeing on Actors Access to pay for extra for getting in front of agents and casting directors. Okay, I'm going to guess what this question is. I might need you to reframe it. Do you know anything about it or recommend? So I'm not sure what you're seeing on Actors Access specifically. There's this, we could spend the whole hour talking about this, but we won't, because we have to talk about gratitude and teach a really cool tool. But what I will say is there was a huge hullabaloo many years ago in Los Angeles about what's called pay to play, which means that actors who are LA based, and I'm raising my hand here because I did a lot of this, would pay money to meet a casting director that was casting a project on camera or voiceover or stage that they wanted to meet. And you would hand them your resume and you would audition for them in a room, usually limited, anywhere depending on the organization, limited from like 15 to 25 people, usually in that room. And very often, if they had a project you were right for, you would get a call or your agent would get a call. Now, California very rightly sort of lost their mind because they don't want actors to give a casting person money to be bumped to the top of a list. That was considered very unfair and the violation, I think, of some laws. And so now there's a giant disclaimer that says if you pay to meet this casting director, it is not a pay-to-play audition. It is not a guarantee of work. However, what I can tell you, which goes on underneath all of that, is if you go to that and they remember you, are they more likely to call you in? Perhaps, but they had to change the language and the intent of it. Susan says, now I know why I'm confused. Okay, great. 17. Ah, voilà. 17 is French for 17. David Lange 17. Voilà. Florina is in Romania. How cool is that? Well, if you speak other languages, and this is both for Florina and everybody, you have giant other avenues of voiceover work and fun and play to pursue if you're native or fluent or a combination of those. There is a giant call in certain markets for voiceover artists who speak other languages. In South Florida, that would be Spanish. Other parts of the world, that's also Spanish, and Spanish comes in many flavors. And so depending on what market you're in, they may say, we want Mexican Spanish or Cuban Spanish or neutral, like broadcaster Spanish or Argentinian Spanish, and the same for other languages. So Florina and all of you, please look at your language skills as part of your voiceover superpowers. And when you set up your profiles, if you don't already have recordings of you speaking in those languages, you can do those if you have a home studio that is broadcast quality and industry standard. And there are a lot of people who will help you get there. There are a couple of those people in the room today, myself included. It doesn't take a lot of money. It does take a small investment and training. You need to know how to use the equipment, but it's very easy if somebody shows you well how to do it, what to buy and how to get there, for you to create broadcast quality industry standard files in your home so that you can be really competitive in the voiceover world in any language. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Wow. Really, really good. Questions, thoughts, comments? Hello to everybody who just came in. Hello, hello, all of you. Let's see. It's another one from Susan. Susan just downloaded Audacity on her new MacBook Air, and it is not doing what it was doing on the former Audacity version on your PC. That explains it. It's probably 3.0 or later. And the thing that you have to download, I know there's a couple of people in this room, Sharon and Susan, who we already talked about. What is the name of the thing? Because I don't have this version yet on the new Mac. The thing that you have to download in order for the new Audacity to work. Somebody pop it in the chat. And congrats on your new Air. It is magnificent. I know Sharon.
There's nothing you need.
Yeah, there actually is.
It's built in. It's called Rosetta.
Yes.
Yeah,
but it's built in.
It wasn't built in for these two people. Go ahead.
I think it was built in on the latest version that I just downloaded. According to what David is saying, because I was very confused and why it wasn't showing me to download it, because it showed me to download it before. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Okay. So if they had a new Mac but an older version of Audacity, they were being triggered to download, and I couldn't remember the name of what it was. So beautiful. All right. Any other? Let's see. Doug says, did I hear correctly that Audacity version 3.0.4 was being recommended versus the newer software versions? David, this was you.
Let me go get Stuart's link, and I'll put it in the chat.
Yay, Stuart. 3.0.4. And the link we're putting in is Stuart Goffey. He is one of the instructors along with me for voheroes.com, which is David's beautiful creation. I've been an instructor there for many years. And so Stuart is an incredible resource. He's got a free newsletter. He's all about teaching people the wonderful tips, tricks, hacks, and gems specifically regarding Audacity. It's a beautiful resource. So thank you for putting that in there. So Doug, we'll get you that link and those answers. Chris says Audacity 3.0.5 is also available, no good. Really interesting. So I'm going to be really transparent here and say that I am not as knowledgeable about the latest versions of Audacity as certain other humans in this room. So David, do you want to address this question for us, please, if you would be so kind? Please hold. He's searching for Stuart's link. Please hold. Music. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. The girl from Ipanema. No idea. Always girl from Ipanema. No idea what it is. There it is. It's in the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Talk
the
to
link
us about
sign up.
3.0 and later, because I want to understand and I want everybody in the village to understand. Please.
Got it. So the link I just put in the chat is to sign up for his newsletter, which
Yes.
is the Audacity, awesomeness guru. I think it's called the Audacity Guru newsletter.
Yeah.
And it can get a little technical, but it's stuff that's usable. And he's a voice talent. He's one of my coaches. He's a peer.
And he's very responsive as well. If you have a question, he's extremely responsive. Yeah.
This ties into a slightly bigger question, if you don't mind. And that is this notion of updating on a regular basis. I've had 6 people this week who are like, I'm going to update to Monterey on my Mac. How cool will that be? And it's like, I'm on this Mac, I'm still working on Catalina. I have a Mac that I'm still working on High Sierra. But yes, on my MacBook Air, I'm using Big Sur.
Yeah.
Please remember the rule. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
Right? So don't update if it's working for you. And now the corollary to that is if there's a security issue with your Mac and it says, hey, there's a security update, do that. But that's not updating your entire system. So just be careful. You don't have to stay on the latest version of Audacity. Let people like Stuart and I take arrows in our backs for you when we update. And,
oh my God.
Yeah. But 3.0.4.
The question was, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I believe is the one that Stuart is recommending right now. But once you sign up for his newsletter, he'll respond to you via email and you
he'll
can
tell
ask
you
him
why.
that question.
Yeah, he'll tell you why he recommends it. Sharon says, do you suggest downgrading? Before, when we were doing, when Catalina was having its moment with Audacity, that was earlier, as many of you know, Catalina had a moment where it wasn't working with Audacity. I had several clients who literally called 1-800-MY-APPLE. And again, please note that phone number if you're on a Mac, 1-800-MY-APPLE. They will assist you with their tech stuff, even if you're out of the 3-year or the 1-year window that you've purchased. They will help you. And I had several clients downgrade to the operating system before so that they could make use of their home studio. So I only suggest downgrading if your stuff is not functioning. If things are working perfectly, if you've got Audacity and either Audio Cupcake or Levelator to master to industry standard, if you're doing audiobooks, if that's functioning, you do not need to do a thing. You really don't. So let me, hold on one second.
And having said all that, this past Monday, we updated Audio Cupcake.
Yeah.
Because so the next time you open up Audio Cupcake, it's going to say, there's an upgrade. There's an update. Do you want to grab it? Because we were having issues with very, very short pieces of audio.
Interesting that it was
people
confused.
were using Audio Cupcake to master their commercial auditions or their, and that's great because it works great, but we had to fix something.
Okay.
And now it's compatible with Monterey as well. So
And Monterey, when was Monterey released, by the way?
October 10th.
Just okay. And I should probably know this because I've been a Mac girl for so long. Is the update released every year in October? Is that the deal with your operating system? No, not necessarily.
Around then, but and some years they skip. But again, you guys, you should not be updating to Monterey unless required. If you're buying a brand new MacBook that comes with it on there, then you're kind of you got to use it. But if not, then don't worry about it.
All right. I love all of this wisdom very, very much. I love it indeed. What was I going to say to you? This is a really good best practices for everybody in the voiceover universe. I want you to know at all times what operating system you are running, whether you're on a Mac or PC. That is one of the things that you as CEO of VoiceOver You Incorporated, I want you to know. Both because it's really good information for you to know, because I want you to understand all aspects of your business and the operating system on the machine that allows you to do your work. That's importante. So if you don't already know your operating system, please look it up and write it down or memorize it. Have a list of like what version do you have. And I also want you to know how old your computer is when you bought it. This is a deep dive. This is bonus. I'd like you to have the receipt somewhere for the purchase, somewhere you can access it. And that's a bigger topic we can cover another time in terms of computer organization and creating a flow for your business that works well. But if you ever have any kind of repair or anything to do with your system, it'd be really lovely if you could find that receipt and all that data in 10 seconds or less. And it's doable over time, takes a minute. I started out as somebody who spent way much time hunting for things on my computer. One of my students called it like an archaeological dig for the email. Where's the receipt? Where is that thing? I want you to be able to find whatever you want in 10 seconds or less. And that is achievable if you start to set these computer organization things in place. And the first really nice place to start is to create a folder for all your electronics where you keep a spreadsheet, a Word document, a Pages document with when did you buy the computer, what's the date, what's the operating system, anything else that you downloaded that's connected to it. All that information should be accessible to you because I want you to have a peaceful, lovely voiceover life. Okay. We're at about half past, so I want to dive, unless there's another burning question, I want to dive into the gratitude and radical self-care portion of our show. So if you don't already have some, please get some tightly capped hydration, tightly capped to protect your electronics from naughtiness. Also because anytime you do work that demands something from your mind, heart, body, spirit, or soul in a sort of bursted or intense way, that actually will dehydrate you. That from one of my favorite teachers, Sonia Choquette, who's worked with tens of thousands of people all over the globe, teaching them how to do her own version of radical self-care. So please hold. All right. Let's talk about gratitude. Grateful, gratitude. Let's talk about gratitude. Now, I want to look at you guys, so I want to change my view so I can see you all. Ha ha! Look how lovely you are. Hello, everybody. All right, let me change this. There we go. Okay, great. All right, so I'm watching the chat. So here's something I want to tell you before we dive into this. We're going to talk a little bit about gratitude, and then I'm going to teach you a radical self-care for performers tool called the switch to thought. Switch like a light switch, to like to and from. Switch to thought. So some gratitude first. Pop in the chat for me. Does anybody have their own version at the moment of a gratitude practice? Does anybody do a gratitude list on a regular basis, either in your head, out loud, on a piece of paper? Every day, every week, every month? Do you have any sort of thing in place? And if you're comfortable sharing, pop that in the chat. I do a gratitude list every day. Sometimes I speak it out loud. Sometimes it's in my head. Sometimes I write it down. Depends on what's happening that day. David says guided meditation. Great. Florina does it in the morning. Doug does it once a day, typically in his head. There's only right ways to do it. Here's what I want to say about gratitude. This time of year, and some people say, oh, it's very commercial. It's very commercial, the idea of gratitude. Perhaps we could make that argument. What I say is, anytime the universe, the world, gives us even the suggestion of the opportunity to practice gratitude, even if it came from Hallmark, big love for you, Hallmark, if you're listening, even if it came from Hallmark, please take that opportunity. And the reason I want you to take it is that gratitude, the energy of gratitude, and those of you who know me know that I'm a sparkly unicorn who runs a think tank. I love things that are invisible and intangible, like connection, peace, love, gratitude, happiness. And I love the measurable and the things with metrics and the things that produce incredible, measurable changes in you and your state and your business practices. So I like to bring them together. So the energy of gratitude is very powerful indeed. Those people who study this kind of stuff in the energy world and the quantum physics world and the biomechanics world say that certain states of being have a higher frequency or vibration than other states of being. And even if this sounds like Sanskrit to you, I'm going to suggest that you already know what that means, because if you're having a cranky or frustrated moment or day, the energy of that state, the cranky, fill in the blank, cranky, overwhelmed, frustrated, depressed, anxious, has a certain feeling in your body. Now, if you've never paid attention to that, I want to invite you to do that. In general, and everybody's a unique snowflake, in general, those states of being, cranky, overwhelmed, etc., what the energetic world would call a lower vibrational state, will make you feel contracted, will feel heavy. You and your body will feel heavy. Those thoughts and those energies tend to move slower. They're a little sludgier, as opposed to things that have what we would call a higher vibration, which in your body will feel like you want to exhale, like you've expanded. It feels like lightness or relief. Those thoughts and energies move a little quicker and a little faster. So in general, that's the difference. So the energy of gratitude is pretty darn high vibrational. It's more up here, it's lighter, it's faster, it's expansive. And the cool thing about the higher vibrational states, and gratitude is just one of them, is they're sort of like magic roto-rooter. Like when we can get to a place where we infuse our system with gratitude, it clears out anything that is lower than that vibration. It's really wonderful. So the one that I like, that I feel like is most powerful if we're really in a pinch, and the radical self-care tools that I prefer are the ones that are break the glass in case of emergency. So I want to give you tools that when you're suddenly in a funky or overwhelmed state and you need to move into something else, or you'd rather be in a different place. You're about to have a meeting. You're about to hop on a Zoom. You're about to go into an event with a family member, a loved one, a business person. You just are feeling somewhat sludgy and slow and negative or overwhelmed, and you'd like to shift your state. The concept of gratitude and the gratitude list spoken out loud is a very good shifter. And so even if you're not in the habit of speaking out loud, again, the quantum physicists and all the people who love to study tell us that joining the intention of, I'm going to try and get into some gratitude, with the spoken word of it is very powerful indeed. So what that might look like or sound like for you is, I am grateful that, fill in the blank. I am grateful for, fill in the blank, and a series of 10 of those in a row. And they can be anything. So there's no judgment on this gratitude list. So it can be something tiny. Let me look around. Okay, fine. I am grateful for my reindeer antlers. I am grateful that I actually have some water here with me. I am grateful to be on this Zoom. I am grateful that it is 2 degrees cooler where I am today, and I only need to wear, you know what I mean? I can wear like a tank top and be comfortable rather than be sweating like a truck driver. So whatever it is you're grateful for, and it can be an ethereal concept. I am grateful for peace. I am grateful for wellness. I am grateful for, it can be abstract, it can be concrete, it can be tiny, it can be big, but I am grateful for, or I am grateful that. Let me check the chat really quick. Let's see. Betsy, hello, Betsy, says, periodic gratitude list journal when I remember. Yes, and I love that, because what I want to do by talking about these gems is to plant the seed deep enough that when we're in the middle of like a funky or a contracted moment, our helpful brain will be like, gratitude list, let me try that. Very often when we're in that contracted state, those of you who know Abraham Hicks, I enjoy her and all that wisdom. Abraham Hicks, Google, very interesting story, which I won't go into here, but fascinating. When we're in a contracted state or a lower vibrational state, we actually don't have access to the higher vibrational thoughts that might make us feel better that are up here, because we forget. It's almost like we've got blinders on, even though they're right around us. We don't have access in that lower vibration. But if I can repeat enough times to myself and to you, gratitude list, then part of your brain might give that to you. Or I actually have a list I write down. Things to do when I'm in a funk. I have a little list. It's post-it. So when you find those tools, put them somewhere. put them on your phone. And again, then we have to remember like, oh, I have a list in my phone, but eventually that will kick in. So I want you to have tools available when it's, break the glass in case of emergency. I'm a huge fan for anything that gets us crazy grateful, that requires time and energy and effort. If that's a religious service, a yoga class, a massage session, a walk in nature, I love all of that. I want you to become aware of the things that easily help you get into gratitude. And I also want you to have a list of like, I'm going to do 1 to 2 to 5 minutes of this, and it's going to work. I want you to have both sets of tools because life demands all of that from us. You're getting some thanks for the links. Yes. Direct messages. So if you send me a direct message, I'll be very respectful. I'm not going to say your name, but I'm being direct messaged from some of you that you're grateful for me. Thank you. La, la, la. Okay, good. Let's see. So, okay, good. Let's do some switch to thought. Oh, it's very exciting. Before I move on, anybody have questions about gratitude list? This is, again, the parts of the modern world would say that, November is sort of a month of gratitude. We'd link that to Thanksgiving. I want you to sort of detach that from a particular holiday and be grateful for no reason at all, or be grateful for any reason at all that you can find. But it is a muscle, gratitude. It's funny to say that, but the more that you practice making a list of things to be grateful for, the easier it is to find things, and the quicker the idea of dropping into gratitude will come to you when you're in a pinch. So it's a really fun muscle. All right, I'm going to hydrate, and then we're going to do some switch to. There we go. Hydrate. Okay. The switch to thought. Right. So some of you in the room may already know this. Pop in the chat if you know how many thoughts we have a day and how many of them you think might be less than positive. I just want people to take a guess. David says a lot. That's correct. A lot. Anybody want to guess? It's fun. Okay, I had no idea. I had to look this up. Any guesses? 3,000. Very good guess. Very good guess. Doug says a winning lottery ticket amount 90% negative. Oh, Doug, you're shockingly close. And the truth is, those of you who are interested in the brain know that our current state of affairs, the current science and what we know is that we use a fraction of our brain. Like our brain does just a bazillion times more than we currently understand or have access to. So what we know about what the brain can do and how it functions will only continue to expand. Oh, that's a good guess. Mindy says 8,000. Sharon says more negative than positive. Absolutely. So from the people who measure this, and there's brain science institutes who try and measure this, we have up to 60,000 thoughts a day. It's a lot. 80% of those are negative. 80% of them are negative, and I think out of those 80%, 50% of the negative thoughts are repetitive. So as human beings, we tend to think the same, what we would call negative thoughts over and over and over again. And I want you to be very nice to yourself because we are hardwired that way. Thoughts that are negative, and again, going back to what we talked about in gratitude, negative thoughts being slower, sludgier. They're also described as stickier, which means they're tougher to shake off than the higher vibrational, happy, positive ones. That is part of our, again, from what we understand at the moment, which may change, that is part of our wiring. Those sticky negative thoughts are actually trying to save your life because they go back to fight or flight. Is this life or death? It's much more important when we were living in caves that if the dinosaur was going to stick its snout in the cave and eat us as a snack, much more important that that thought was sticky and that we didn't get distracted by, oh, what a nice flower outside the cave. So the dinosaur might eat me as a snack. That was more important that was like, like Velcro that couldn't get off you. And the flower thought will wait. So the challenge is, thank goodness there are no more dinosaurs sticking their snout in our caves, but we've recreated that. We've recreated a version of, yes, there's a dinosaur sticking its snout in my cave, and I must be on high alert. Oh, David says, speak for myself. I'm so sorry. If there's an actual dinosaur outside your door sticking its snout in your cave, I am very impressed that you are, oh, he's pointing. He's invited to office hours, and I'm very impressed that you're here as calmly as you are. I apologize. I don't mean to speak for everybody here. That's my bad. Let me hydrate, because this is big stuff. I love it. Love it. So please just be very, very kind to yourself when and if you notice those negative thoughts running like your equivalent, a hamster treadmill or whatever it is. They really are trying to help you. And that in and of itself may assist you if next time you notice that. I used to get very angry at my negative thoughts. Not very helpful, but that's where I used to go, like, why can't I get? And the reason we can't get out of it like this is because they're trying to save our lives, and they're sticky on purpose. So be very kind. Whatever you want to say, thank you. Thank you, negative sticky thoughts. I hear you. I'm going to put you in the corner with a blanket and a cookie and put you to sleep. So the switch to everything can go in the blanket with a corner and cookie and go to sleep. If it's not serving us, that's fine. So the switch to thought allows us, when we hear a negative thought, to grab it and to transform it. And again, this is also a muscle, so you can use this in any way that feels good to you, but we're going to do an example of it here. So I want you to identify one negative thought that you have around your voiceover journey, your voiceover life, or if you're at the beginning of that journey, just a negative thought about your career or a negative that could be anywhere in your life, really. I'm going to talk specifically about voiceover thoughts because we're in a voiceover office hours, but just know this is applicable anywhere to anything. I'm going to give you some examples. So common. Many of you understand these thoughts, have them. No friends have had them. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. It's too late. It'll never happen for me. I don't have the right agent. I don't have any agent. Therefore, I'm doomed. I can't get my studio set up. It's all over for me. There's billions of negative thoughts. So if you take one of those, I want you to choose one just for the sake of this exercise. If you're comfortable popping in a chat, please do, because we're going to do the other side of it, which is the transformed version. So once you have that thought, I want you to imagine if I could, I meant to bring my Hogwarts wand in today. I have Professor McGonagall's wand outside my booth. So if I were to raise and use my magical Professor McGonagall Hogwarts wand and do my magic on you, or you do your magic on you because you're all very magical, and you were to receive the complete polar opposite of the negative thought, even if it sounds a little ridiculous at first, what would that polar opposite be? So let me choose one so I can talk you through this. Let's see, what's a juicy negative thought? Juicy negative thought. Here's one for me. And I'm getting some direct messages, so I'll address those in 1 second, everybody. So here's one that pops in from time to time. I'm not doing enough. That's a good one too. I'm not doing enough of X, fill in the blank. So my thought, my little sort of inner mean girl thought is, I'm not doing enough to connect to new representation in other parts of the country. So that sort of voice comes in and sort of beats me over the head with a little Nerf bat over, I'm not doing enough to connect with agents in other part of the country. And the whole idea of a thought starting with, I'm not doing enough, that is judgment, right? So different than saying to myself, it's interesting, I'm spending less time than I thought I would be looking for other representation. So that thought is more neutral than I'm not doing enough. The whole I'm not doing enough thing, if your thought starts with that, it is in the category of a judgment thought. It's sludgier, slower, will contract you. It feels bad. So that's mine. So choose yours. I'm not good enough. Yes, thank you. Some of you are direct messaging. Feel free to direct message me if you want to be more private about it. That's perfectly fine. Somebody says, maybe I don't have the right voice for this career. What if I don't have the right voice and I can't have this career because my voice is wrong? David says, FOMO, fear of missing out on opportunities in the business. Things are happening that I'm not in on, and that's a negative, and I feel that's bad. That's bad. It's a judgment thought. Direct message here from somebody says, what about something that's actually happening? What about something that's actually happening, like not booking voiceover jobs? We're going to talk about that. I want to finish talking you through this, and then I'll come back and address that. Also a direct message, I have to have the right representation or I'm sort of dead in the water, whatever your version is. So the opposite of it, if you're comfortable popping the opposite of it in the chat, go ahead and pop that in. So the opposite, what would be the opposite for me of the opposite of I'm not doing enough to find representation in other parts of the country. So what we're looking for is like, if we hit the lottery and got a miracle and the opposite were true, I'm gonna start there. The opposite for me would be what? I guess maybe the full-on opposite, the highest opposite I can think of is, and it can be something that hasn't happened or might happen, so it doesn't have to be sort of grounded in reality. This full opposite could be, I just got an email from one of my dream agents, right? So that's the opposite end of the spectrum. So I've gone from like what a negative or low vibrational sludgy thought, I'm not putting in enough time with my stuff, to I've just gotten a call from an agent that's one of my dream agents. Now if that's too high or elevated, and if it doesn't feel real to you or grounded, then we need to find another version of it. So the idea is not to pick a thought that you think is opposite that has no connection to you. Like here's one that feels like it would have no connection to me. So I start out with, I'm not doing enough work to find representation in other parts of the country. And the switch to thought, the more high vibrational positive thought I'm going to pick over here is, well, I'm going to win the lottery next week, so none of that matters. I'll be able to hire people to do everything I need to do for me. So, and I love that thought, and I welcome, by the way, universe, a winning lottery ticket. However, to go from I'm not doing enough work to I'm going to win the lottery, it feels disconnected to me. So the switch to thought that you're looking for will make you want to feel like you can exhale and relax in your body. I want you to pay attention both to what the negative thought that you identified feels like in your body. I'm missing out. I don't have the right voice. I'm too old, too young, too rich, too poor. I'm not in the right city. Whatever your thought is, I want you to feel what that feels like in your body when you think it. And I'm going to be bossy pants and suggest that it feels, as I've described, a little heavy, a little contracted, makes you pull in a little bit. I always feel like I have a wrinkly face when I'm thinking that thought. It just everything feels, and it doesn't feel light and hopeful and lovely. It feels sort of like heavy and weighed down. So the opposite thought wants to make you feel like you're going to exhale. So let me think. And this is trial and error. And you can do this with, if you feel comfortable working with a buddy for this or a partner, you can ask somebody else to suggest a switch to thought. And if it feels like it makes you want to relax or exhale or more lightness or ease in your body, that's a good one for you. So I'm not doing enough work to find another agent. This is mine. I want you to work on yours. And the switch to would be, what's something that feels really authentic to me? Here's something that feels good to me. I know a lot of people in the voiceover world, and I'm going to ask them if they have recommendations for good agents for me. Okay, so now we've got, I'm not doing enough for pursuing voiceover work in other parts of the country, and I want you to feel what that feels like. And then the opposite for me is like, I actually do know some people with some nice agents, and I'm going to reach out. I'm going to make one email or craft an email, not even send it. I'm going to write the email and see if I can check into if they know anybody who would be a good fit for me. So the difference between those two thoughts for me is when I think about reaching out and taking a tiny action, I feel like I want to exhale. My body feels more expanded and lighter. And here's the thing. I'm getting some hilarious direct messages, and I'm going to protect that privacy. Yes. People are you guys are hilarious. That's very, very good. And so what happens is, and I'll check the chat in just a second. Anytime, and I want you to start with one thought, right? We've all got again, 60,000 thoughts a day, 80% are negative. That's 48,000 negative thoughts a day. Please be nice to yourself. The cool news is the ability to switch to a lighter, more positive, higher vibrational thought is also a muscle. So the more you do it, the easier it becomes to get there. I think of it like, in terms of brain science, it's about like when we think the same thought repetitively, it's almost like we create like a water flume. So anytime that negative thought that's very familiar to us, like, I don't have the right agent. If you've thought that repetitively for a long period of time, that little water flume in your brain is easy. So you could slide right down that very easily, as opposed to the new water flume you're connecting. Can any brain scientists in the room please forgive me? This is not accurate, but you're creating new pathways in your brain where the thought of like, hey, maybe this or maybe that makes me feel lighter and better. That pathway becomes stronger than the negative one. So anytime you hear that negative thought, you can stop and go to your switch to thought. And maybe you need to do that a couple dozen times a day. When I'm first teaching this tool to people, they say to me, like, if it's a very pesky negative thought, like what's a very stubborn one? For some reason, and I have some students actually in their 70s who started voiceover work in their 70s, so it's really never too late. I want you to hear that. However, somebody starting that late came to me with like, that ship has sailed. I really want to do this with you, but the ship has sailed. So I'm just going to do it for fun. I was like, let's do the switch to thought. And so every time that thought came up for her, oh, I'm 70, whatever, it's too late. The thought would be, are there any other people on the planet who started what they loved late in their life and became successful? Yes, there are. I'm going to think about them whenever that thought comes up. So that was really, really helpful for them. So start with one. I don't want you to overwhelm yourselves. One negative thought, one switch to that makes you feel relaxed, and play with it for a week and see what happens. And obviously you could choose, if halfway through the week you're like, I'd rather do this switch to thought, then by all means do it. But what you're going for is a feeling in your body of lightness or release. And something else that's fun to do, if this helps you, because some of you are more visuals, this is neurolinguistic programming. For those of you unfamiliar, it's really fascinating. Everybody processes in a very different way. Some of us process visually, some of us aurally, some of us kinesthetically, which is about feeling, some of us through smell. So if you process visually, I would say to you, your lower vibrational thought, the one that you're going to change away from, what color is it? What does it look like? If it had a form, what does its voice sound like? Does it have a smell? And then also, what does your higher vibrational thought look like, sound like, smell like, feel like? So if that helps you to get there, then please assign some of the 5 sensory stuff to it. It's really, really fun. Now, I know we're coming to the top of the hour, but I'm going to stay for as long as we're done talking. Let me check the chat. Let me go all the way back because you guys have been really awesome in this chat here. Let's see, scanning. Doug has posted both. Okay, so his first thought was, what do you think you're doing? You're already behind before you have started. Yeah, that's so common. The switch to is, you have taken some first steps and so are far ahead of where you were before you were already. Keep it up. And Doug, does that switch to thought, does it feel different in your body? Just checking in. Yeah, really great. So great. This is a direct message. So I love to respect privacy. Somebody said, people told me I have a sweet voice. Maybe I'm actually perfect for things that not many are. What a great switch to thought. Oh my gosh. Rocket. Okay, so good. Oh, so lovely. All right. I want you to check in with yourselves. How's everybody doing? Doing okay? Good tool, good thought. I wanted to say something else about the switch too. Let me see. This is something important I want to give you, and we'll be talking about this every office hours till I'm 108 and beyond. From beyond. If you give me permission, I'll visit you from the beyond and talk about this because it's important. I want all of you to have the idea that radical self-care or voiceover health or voiceover wellness, or fill in the blank if you're coming from another part of the universe, entrepreneurial wellness, business wellness, corporate wellness, wherever you're coming from, is not about just your body. That's a really interesting interpretation that a lot of people have. When I say something like, I want to talk to you about your creative or artistic health or wellness, people think, oh, my body. I want to be warmed up, or I want to have enough water or enough sleep. That's important. I really want you to hear me. That is 25% of the equation. When I'm talking to you about your creative health or wellness, what I'm talking about is your entire entity, your mind, your body, your emotions, your spirit. So in my humble view, It is a misunderstanding of what health or wellness is to focus on body only. And what I want to empower you with is tools that help you rock not only your creativity, but your life. So if we take care of the relaxation of the body, but don't address the negative thoughts that will absolutely impact your body and make you contracted and cranky, we have done you a disservice. And I want you to thrive wildly. And I had an argument with somebody this week. They're like, well, it's really not as important for me as a creative person to always be sort of monitoring, my thinking. And again, it's not meant to be a full-time job. I want you to gently do this with a light touch, a light hand, make it fun. And so the example that I love to use in terms of like the mind-body connection, again, there's a giant body of science and research around how connected are the mind and the body. If you were to be walking along a beautiful garden pathway or the beach or in the forest, wherever you like to walk, and you saw what you thought was a giant snake, your brain would say, that's a giant snake, and your body would have whatever reaction. Now, if you're among the few people who are like, oh, snakes are adorable, I'm going to try and pet it, then I'm not talking to you. But if you're in the category where the majority of us are, where you're like, snake, scary, poisonous or not, might bite me, do I need to run? So when you have those thoughts, and they are thoughts, your body will absolutely follow suit almost immediately with a very interesting cascade of reactions, which are probably not in alignment with peace and calmness. So the thoughts you think generate things in your body. Now, if the thoughts happen very quickly, and again, 60,000 of them, they're going very fast. If the thoughts are subconscious or they happen very fast, what science will tell us is it feels like the emotion or the feeling just showed up first, and we don't know what the thoughts are. But there's always a thought connection. So that's why I love the switch to thought, because even if you just wake up and you're overwhelmed, but you don't know what the thought is, you can ask, is what's the overwhelming thought here? What am I overwhelmed about? And if you're not getting anything, there are other tools. Like if it's just your body, there are tools to help you calm your body so you have access to what you're actually thinking. So anything that takes care of your mind, your body, your emotions, your spirit, those are the 4 portals. In my opinion, there's more, but those are the 4 big ones, because I'm a big energy work person, which I can talk to you about another time. Any way in, mind, body, spirit, or emotions, will absolutely automatically flood the rest of those 3 portals with calmness and peace. So you can come in any way you want, but the idea that I want to leave you with is that they're a quadruplet. You need all 4 of them to thrive, which is what I really, 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 really want for all of you. Let's see. Anything else? Somebody asked, I said I would come back to this. Let me address it because it was a direct message. So somebody said, what if the negative thought is about something that's actually happening? Like, I'm not booking voiceover jobs. So this is such a big one. This is so much about not just voiceover artist mindset, actor mindset. This is about life, because when anything happens that we want and it's not showing up, our tendency is, until we learn other tools, to observe the thing that we don't like and feel bad about it, or observe that something's not showing up and tell ourselves a negative story around it. So common. Welcome to the human race. You have a lot of company here. So for that, the tool that I recommend, there's a lot of them, is called 6 sensory visualization. Now remind me, because I teach this tool a lot. Have I taught that tool to this group? Did I do 6 sensory? I didn't. All right. So in December's, I'm going to write that down. In December's voiceover hours, please come back. We will teach 6 sensory visualization. It's a tool that your favorite gold medal Olympians have used for decades. Some of them, it's a mandatory part of their training, and they credit this tool with their gold medal wins. It's really powerful. So let me see if there's something I can leave you with now. Wonderful human who asked about it, not booking voiceover jobs. So that's a thought. So I would suggest trying on the switch to thought. It can be something. It can be a thought about something that's not actually happening, that's very intangible, or something that's happening. So if the thought is, I'm not booking any voiceover jobs, and that feels bad. So I'm going to ask the village here, because it's easier, really. David says, join the club. Yes, join the human club. Yeah. So I'm going to call on the strength of the village here. So if village, all of you here today, if your thought was like, well, I'm not booking any voiceover jobs, or if you're not a voiceover artist at the moment, you're doing something else, I'm not fill in the blank. I'm not getting new gigs. I don't have enough new clients. I'm not getting enough speaking gigs. I'm not doing enough webinars, whatever your thing is. If that's the original thought that you have, what would be a switch to thought that you might try on? And please pop that in the chat, because this is somebody who DM'd me. So they're feeling a little shy about revealing their negative thought, which is fine. And that's something else to tell you is, and this I think is a lie that we're going to bust right now, that there's some sort of shame around having negative thoughts around your career. Like, and that is one of the biggest like BS stories I've ever heard in my life, but it's very common and it's very easy to go there, especially with social media. We need to have a beautiful, balanced relationship with social media. So if you're on social media and you're busy comparing yourself, which by the way, please don't do that, because the only person to compare yourself is yourself. You're not in competition with anybody. Sorry to tell you that. You're not. Only with yourself and with great love. Let's see. David says, what about reframing simple is rather than is bad? I have not booked in a while, but I will in the future. Yeah, I love that. And for me, the first thing I think of is, and I love this framework because this works for me. So I'll put it out there, try it on. I always want you to try on what works for you and dump it if it doesn't. You're going to find your own special sauce. So if mine was, I'm not booking any voiceover work, or I haven't booked any voiceover work in a while, and that's bad, my switch to thought would be, are there any voiceover artists or actors who have ever gone a long stretch of time without work and are still rock stars? Yes, there are. And you can Google actors who had a big dry spell, voiceover artists who had a big dry spell, entrepreneurs who had a big dry spell. Please use Google as your personal global research library and virtual assistant that will give you any knowledge you want. Really, really helpful if you're in the place of like, I'm having this dry spell and it's over for me. You have so much company, first of all, with people who are in that space of like, gee, it'd be nice to be on set. It'd be nice to book a gig. It'd be nice to have a new client. It'd be nice to have like a giant contract. Almost everybody, I have plenty of work and I don't want any more work, said no artist ever, as far as I know. Very few artists are like, please, please, please make the work stop. Like I have not encountered those people. Let's see. This is a great conversation, everybody. So juicy. Doug says, everything I am doing, even maybe badly, is making me stronger. So I am ready when the work inevitably starts rolling in. Oh, that's juicy. I'm going to steal that with love. That's so good. David says, aren't we always surprised when we book something? Yes. David and I have a mutual friend named Michael Kostroff. Michael, hope your ears are burning. Very talented, very working actor. So many of you know him from The Wire, but he's also an amazing acting coach, and he has an offering called Audition Psychology 101. It's beautiful. So please Google that if you're interested. So he feels like his thought is the way to protect your sanity is to think, I'm never going to book the effing job, so I'm just going to have fun acting or doing the pitch or talking to the person. I'm just going to have a good time and release the results. So that's his way in. So I want you to gather as many ways in that people use as you can to feel what's right for you. So yes, sometimes it is shocking when we book things. I would like that to feel normal for all of us. I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, how nice, another booking. That's what I want for all of us. And in the meantime, we want these tools to help keep our mind, body, spirit, emotions centered and grounded. Mindy says, what about, this is a switch too. What about, there are a lot of voiceover jobs in the world and some are now coming to me so easily. Yeah, and another really wonderful framework, and I can talk to you about this in December when we do like the woo-woo six sensory stuff that the Olympians rely on, is to really think about something you want to be true for you and try on what it would feel like if it were actually true. And some people can get there very easily and some people need some tools to get there. So you try that on. If your ideal scenario were now true, what would that be? I have suddenly have 3 voiceover offers from the same agent And they just called me saying, we don't know what happened, but you've been requested 3 times and we have to work around your availability. Like whatever your dream scenario is, try that on. Imagine that phone call. Imagine that email. And that's a really fun way both to raise your vibration and to try to get yourself building a new water flume pathway. Let's see. Yes, David, thank you. David just dropped in the chat Michael Kostroff's Audition Psychology 101 link. He does a lot of free content on YouTube, so that's a huge reference. He primarily talks about on-camera acting, but I have to tell you, these tools are applicable to anybody who has selection, not rejection. Hear me now. Selection as part of their career path. Are you pitching people and they're going to say yes or no? Are you auditioning? They're going to say yes or no. Are you I don't know many careers where there's not like, are you meeting a new client? They're going to say yes or no. I don't know any, almost, is there any career where there's no yes or no involved? Maybe there isn't. So you can translate, if you want to check it out, what he says about actors for your particular brand of work, if you're not film and television centric. This is a direct message. Somebody doing a switch to, my audition professor said you will get cast every 100 plus auditions. Just got a few more to go. Yeah, that's something else. It's like if you were to Google how many auditions did it take Tom Hanks to book his first role? I mean, like, go ahead and do some research because the numbers are not what you think. Are there humans on the planet in your field of work who are sort of like what we call direct offer, like they skip the audition process or the pitch process or the meeting process? Yes. And do I want that for all of us? Yes. And while we're on our way there, I want us to have these tools to keep us grounded and centered and peaceful and nourished on that pathway. David respectfully disagrees. I want that surprise and delight. I love that feeling. Okay, so yeah, so I misunderstood you when I said, when you said you were surprised that you got booked. Surprise has a lot of flavors in it. So some people are surprised like, I never thought that would happen. And some people have surprise as in, this is delightful. This is delightful because it's enjoyable. So your special version of surprise is yours, and I want it to be as high vibrational as it can be for you. So thank you for that clarification. Sales, yeah. Oh, there's so many. This is from David. Samuel L. Jackson told David Letterman it took him 15 years to become an overnight success. Somebody put in the chat the name of the amazing African-American man who was in his 70s or 80s who won the Tony. This was a couple years ago. So somebody knows who this is. That speech made me weep, and I need to memorize his name and print it out. We have theater people in this room. Somebody knows that. What I remember is his speech. I'm going to cry. And he said, it took me 70 years to be on this stage winning a Tony. And for 70 years, this theater village loved me and nourished me and held me so that I could keep loving my dream. And by the way, here I am, a 70-year overnight success or whatever he said. It was something close to that, but it was so moving. So please know, and this is such a cliche, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And that sounds like a giant, Wisconsin cheese ball. But the truth is the cliches have some wisdom in them. So do I want you to ignore your destination? No, I do not. Do I want you to fully drop into the joy of the daily journey that you're on? Yes, I do. Do I want you to be as happy and high vibrational as possible as much of the time on the journey? Yes, I do. And that's the purpose of all of these tools and all the questions. Let's see. David says there was an actor who got his first acting job in his 70s. I love these stories, and won an Oscar for supporting actor in a Western. Oh, God. And Doug, Andre DeShields, that's the theater actor? He thinks so. Andre DeShields. Okay, we're going to look him up. I'm sort of weepy with gratitude. So there are people who started their journey at zero at significantly older age than you currently are. Significantly. And for me, there's so much wisdom there. And again, the cliche, it's never too late. That's fine, but I want you to ground it's never too late in, and I'm going to find some switch to thoughts and some processes that make me feel really, really good about my journey, where I am, how I'm going. What did I hear the other day that I love so much? I have so many places I draw wisdom. So one of my wonderful coaches, Liz, said, your way is a good way. Your particular way, your timeline, your tools, your village, your processes, That way is a good way. And the idea is not to limit or get rid of anything. It's always to expand the treasure chest that you have. All right. Oh my goodness. Yes, your way is a good way. And that can be a switch to thought. If you have a negative thought and that works for you, and it makes you feel relief, my way is a good way. It is. I don't have any hesitation about knowing that, because I believe that's how the universe and energy and our inner guidance system works. All right, lovely humans, we've gone about a quarter hour over. Any final questions or thoughts? I'll wrap us up. Susan, big love. Okay, go ahead. You know how this ends. I'm gonna, let's see. Let me unmute all of you. Can I unmute all of you in one fell swoop? I think I can only mute all of you. Do I have the power to unmute everybody? If you're comfortable, I'm gonna ask you to unmute yourselves. You guys unmute yourselves for just a little moment. Let me remove my spotlight so I can be in the room with you. Hold on. Move spotlight. There I am. Hold on, gallery. There I am. Raise your right hand, please. And if you're in a place where you can't unmute, please do this if you can, or do it in your head. Grab the back of your left shoulder. Pat. Pat, 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 pat. Repeat after me. I am voiceover awesome. I am voiceover awesome. I grew my radical self-care toolkit today. I grew my radical self-care toolkit today. The world is waiting for my gifts.
The world is
waiting for my gifts. I am right on time.
I am
right on time. The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come.
Yay me.
Yay me.
Woo! Oh, so good. Always so good to see all of you and be here. Please go forward into this world today and be awesome. Your way is a good way. Your timing is good timing. I'm your super fan. So it's been such a joy. Everybody, please have a beautiful, safe, gorgeous rest of your November and Thanksgiving. I look forward to seeing you with reindeer antlers and maybe some other gear in December. Big love and gratitude for all of you. It's been a joy. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
So much.
Bye.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Whoa, that Audacity thing.
Message me. Okay.